Hello, everybody. It's been another smelly season for Mike Norvell in Florida State. It's his fourth smelly season in 6 tries, and Florida State went out this afternoon like a fart in the wind in Gainesville, as they're going to close the season at 5-7. Florida is going to improve to 4-8, and the Seminoles are going to fall short of automatic qualification for a bowl. Who knows? Maybe they'll get selected as one of the 5-win teams to play an extra game. But as we stand right now, Florida is celebrating, Florida State is dejected, and we have yet another example of a road loss.
And another touchdown for Florida to rub it in right there.
And the penalty, well, it looks like it got wiped out, Eugene.
Okay. You're a little ahead of me there.
A holding call on Florida is going to wipe that away, but we'll see what goes on here as a 34-21 game right now. It's the same old story for Florida State, especially on the road. And what this loss guarantees everybody out there is that Florida State fans are going to have to wait over 1,000 days between Florida State winning road games, because they won 2 years ago on this field that they're playing on tonight against the Florida Gators. This is the last roadie of the year. True road games. Florida State's going to go without a victory for over 1,000 days. Founder, administrator of Warchant.com, Gene Williams. Happy belated Thanksgiving to you, sir. How are you this evening?
I am well, Tom. I'm still enjoying the leftovers from Thanksgiving, because I certainly did not enjoy my Saturday so much, seeing Miami blow up Pitt and then having to watch this atrocity. Again, what's just so frustrating. I mean, these road games, you knew it was going to happen. It's just the fact that I think Florida State got emasculated in this, especially defensively, with Jaden Bogg now with, let's see, last check, 256 rushing yards. I don't know what the all-time record is. I don't know if someone has a chance to look this up. Maybe somebody in chat can do a little AI check or something and ask that question. I'm curious, is this the most dominating one running back has had against Florida State? And just the bad angles, the poor tackling, the lack of effort, it's so sad to see. You know, the offense about what he expected. There's nothing special going on there. It's not a whole lot, but I mean, just to see the defense just completely dominate. And I thought, Tom, the last few games, as bad as things have been, I thought the defense had played a little bit better, but this was a major step backwards today against their inept Florida offense.
Yeah, it didn't look like they wanted to be there, plain and simple. Yeah. I don't usually pull that card. I have not this year, especially for the defense. They've been bad. They've been tentative. They've been hesitant. Look at the Pitt game. You know, that's one place. They haven't been tough enough. Look at the Virginia game.
Thank you, Danny.
For all those hidden yards. Yeah, Danny, thank you, Danny, for that. The TV crew did say that just a few minutes before we signed on, and looks like that number's being added up here. But save for a couple of drives in the second half where I really felt like they came out of the locker room at halftime looking inspired, the defense was flat as a pancake tonight, and Florida averaged well over 6 yards of play, close to 7 yards of play in the first half. Gene, they had 3 meaningful possessions before you got down with time issues and clock issues. They scored 3 times. One of which they could have gone for it on a 4th and 2, but they chose to kick to go up 3-0 in this football game. This is one of those nights. We talked about this before it started. It's funny. I was having the same conversation with director Nick behind the scenes. Gene, there's nothing new to break down here. This is the same old crap. This is the same old steaming pile of flaming poop outside of your front door, and you're stepping on it right now. And you're the old man in Billy Madison, and you're screaming. that's where we are right now, as Florida apparently did score a touchdown. It looks like this one is going to count as they cross the 40-point barrier, and it's going to be a 20-point loss to 3-win Florida. It's the same stuff. If you thought maybe there would be a bump of excitement because Mike Norvell has been announced to return and maybe that locker room would rally around him, you didn't get it. Florida State goes this entire season, Gene, without scoring a point offensively in the first quarter of any game.
Wow. That's another amazing stat. Not winning a road game, not scoring the first quarter. Just another thing in this game, what's amazing to me at one point when they were only down 3 at halftime, which I was kind of shocked the way they were dominated. And then when they were down 3, driving the ball to maybe take the lead. And then, of course, the 3rd and short play and then the 4th down play. And then Florida scored back-to-back right after that. And that was ball game. But, again, you cannot pick up. I don't remember them getting, since the first 3 games, a stop on the 3rd and short or 4th and short all season. And I don't know if they ever pick them up either. I mean, you want to talk about it's one thing you look at the stats, and they put up the stats on the broadcast early during the game, and they showed how Florida State was pretty good statistically. But I remember Jimbo Fisher always talking about how important situational football is. You want to talk about a team that is the worst probably in the country when it comes to situational football. When you're in the red zone, when you need to get a 3rd down pickup, when you need to get a 3rd down stop, there's no team worse than Florida State. And that, again, that's where coaching comes into play. If you show you can move the ball and do things, but you can't do them in the key moments, that falls on the staff.
Well, how about red zone on offense? You want to go the other way, or short yardage on offense?
Yeah,
3rd and 4th downs. It's insane. So Baugh's final tally, as Florida misses the extra point, is 38 attempts, 266 rushing yards, 7 yards per carry. 7 yards per carry. His long was 22. So it's not
he didn't break the. Usually see a stat like that time they broke off a 50-yarder somewhere.
Yep, exactly. No, this is not the case. And I look into the camera and I say this: President McCullough, Chair Collins, Director Alford, it's not too late. It's not too late. You can change your minds. Hell, you released a statement after Stanford and you said it's season's end. And then you made up your mind a week before the season was over. You can still change your minds. For the love of God, they're laughing at all of us. They're laughing at all of us. We'll turn it over to you in the phone calls very shortly here on the Warchant Postgame. We have contributions that we need to get to. It's been a fun season to get together and talk about these things. But it's been, Gene, yet another losing season. And after Florida State got off to a 3-0 start on the season, they're going to win 2 out of their final 9 games. And now against non-directional schools, let's see, they've won 7 total games, right, in the last 2 seasons. That'll be 4 wins against non-directional schools in 2 years for Florida State against 17 losses. So 4 out of 21 games you've won if you're Mike Norvell the last 2 years against non-automatic wins. Good thing they got Central Arkansas on the schedule next year, Gene.
At least they got 1 win, maybe.
These are unbelievably low times, and yet they're so predictable. That's what makes this, I think, especially painful today.
Well, it makes it painful, like I said, how you lost to a rival that was one of the worst teams they've had in school history in a long time down in Gainesville, and you just got emasculated by them. In the fact, but what makes it worse, Tom, is going into next year, there's no hope. That's the thing that's so great about college sports. In any sports, no matter what team it is, you go into that season, well, next year is going to be our season. What excitement is there with Mike Norvell coming back? Now, I'm sure there's going to be some shakeups on the coaching staff and the support, some staff behind the scenes. There'll be some changes there too. But really, do we really expect any different result? You keep doing it. It's a definition of insanity. You keep repeating the same things over and over and over. You bring Mike Norvell back. You did it last year. You new coordinators, a lot of new coaches, a lot of changes. And really, like you just pointed out some of the numbers, Tom, not a whole lot difference really between 2024 and 2025. How is 2026 going to be any different? I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking that the over-under is going to be about probably Vegas 4.5 wins next year, looking at that schedule, something like that.
Yeah, it's got to be super low. Now we'll see what acquisitions they make in the offseason for players that can help change things and change attitudes. But there's no word, no phrase, no sentence that Mike Norvell could speak this offseason that's going to engage anybody. There's nothing. That is a dead and buried issue in terms of interest with him. He's going to have to resurrect a Gene with the mother of all Rocky montages. I was talking about this on the board earlier this week. You're going to need Rocky on the beach with, getting yelled at by your significant other or your mentor or whoever. I'm afraid, all right? You want me to say it? I'm afraid.
Where's Mickey? We need Mickey out there.
You need Mickey. You're going to have that moment because he's going to have to prove it to the fans. There's nothing that he can say. So now all eyes are on the administration and where they take this offseason. They promised in statements, they heavily implied in statements, significant changes to whatever deficiencies there were within the program. So we better start seeing those soon. And I mean really, really soon, because whatever happens from this point on to Florida State football, it's not on Mike Norvell. It's on the president. It's on the board. It's on the athletic director, because we understand what he's been the last 2 years. They chose to bring him back. Gene, I hope they got both barrels ready to unload this offseason, be it in the money department and what they do with front office, what they do with assistant coaches. You're going to need an overhaul because this is rotten to the core. Yeah. That's what today showed me. That was the disappointing part about today. I thought they might win because they've got more to play for than Florida does. Florida just quit against a rival last week against Tennessee. It was 35-0 in that ball game. Tell me who looked like they were playing for more. There were higher stakes today. Florida looked like there was something more on the line for them. That's what's extremely disappointing about today.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it right there, because if this is a team, and that's the one thing I said, I'd still pick Florida to win this game just because FSU can't win on the road. And I will continue on the next year. As long as Mike Norvell is coaching, I will never pick us to win a road game until we actually win one. But I mean, that's the thing. They lay down, as you said, to a rival. So I thought, well, maybe Florida's just given up. They got an interim coach. There's nothing going on. And they got the news, came out in the last 24, 48 hours. They're not getting Lane Kiffin. So everything is doom and gloom in Gainesville. But boy, we look like the doom and gloom team out there today. And again, it's so sad because there's no hope. And, you know, you mentioned the money thing. They're going to need money to bring in new coaches, to bring in, if they want to have a GM type to oversee this thing, to bring in all this stuff. And to bring in, obviously, an NIL, you're going to need money to bring in a whole new roster again. I don't know where all that money is going to come from to do all these things. That's the tough part, too, because it's not only that, Tom. If you're going to come in and tie yourself, do you want to tie yourself to Mike Norvell right now? If you're a viable coach somewhere, because you know when they come out that, you know, we'll see it in the preseason, it'll probably start in about January, February. See, all the national media will put out hot seats. Who do you think is going to be number one on the hot seat list next year?
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, this is a run.
It's like Billy Napier. It's the same thing. He was number one. And Mike Norvell's going to be number one. And everybody's going to see it's going to be the same scenario. We're going to get to about the end of October, early November, and Mike is going to be fired, just like Napier was. It's going to be the same scenario. So why would you want to tie yourself to that?
Well, our own Irish Rafael wrote this in one of his recent columns. Also, you're tying yourself to Mike Norvell if you are one of the power brokers at Florida State. You're going to get credit for the lawsuit against the ACC, but this might be more memorable in your Florida State legacy if you're McCullough. Now, he's got a ton of responsibilities, but McCullough, the athletics manager, that part of the presidency of the university. Chairman of the board, Peter Collins, a Florida State grad. Michael Alford, athletic director. Made a lot of hires that made a lot of sense. Hell, Brian Penske's Noles are now in the College Cup once again in soccer. That's one of Alford's hires. A lot of positive things for these guys. But this could very well be, Gene, the thing that they are remembered for most, which is deciding to, despite all evidence to the contrary, run it back with Mike Norvell. This is now on them. Like, we know what Norvell is. You can only, run your head into the wall so many times before you decide, okay, that's what he is. Now, who's allowing it to happen? Same thing as like when a linebacker's out there, Gene, and he continually makes mistakes. And for a game or two, that's fine. But then eventually you start looking at the coordinator or the head coach because you're either coaching it or you're allowing it. That's where we are right now with the admin. You're either getting rid of the guy or you're allowing it. And this is going to be a really bumpy month ahead. I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah, you got signing day, you got portal coming up, and you're going to have to make some hires. And we assume, I'd say about a 90+% chance that Gus Malzahn is gone. I mean, just based on his, if you didn't see it, and there's a nice short, if you're on Warchant TV here and subscribe to this channel because you get a lot of good content, you probably saw the short. And I mean, it was great to see Malzahn stutter around when asked about whether he'll be here next season. It was pretty obvious to him that he's gone. And I'd say, what do you think? The odds are probably pretty good. Tony White's gone too. I'd say there's a slight chance maybe he's back, but
look, if he was looking for a sign of whether or not the guys are going to rally around him on a given afternoon, it's 440.
They sent the signal like, we don't want you here next year. Goodbye.
Well, now you're going to piece together. You talked about this in real time when we did the post-game show 2 weeks ago. when Virginia Tech ran for 250 on Florida State or whatever it was here at home. Now, it was a blowout win for the Noles or a multi-score win, but he said that's a little bit concerning that you allowed 250 yards on the ground. Now it was 272. And it's not like Florida was using the run as the counterpunch. You knew what was coming before the snap every play. And they were able to do it over and over and over again. And the emasculating feeling sits and rests with Florida State.
Did Ball have a negative run on his 38 rushes? He ran the ball 38 times. I don't know if they can pull that up on there. I wonder, did he have one negative run?
I don't know that I can pull up his short. His long was 22.
Yeah.
But there was one for no gain or a loss of a yard in the second quarter.
Okay, all right. It just seemed like every time we'd have a guy actually in the backfield, he would either try to bump into him and not wrap him up, and he'd fall forward for 3 yards. When his worst plays were when he fell forward for 3 yards.
Well, I mean, we all saw it because we hyper focus on this game. He needed 96 or 98 yards to clear 1,000. Like, that was Florida's thing. Like, whereas ours with Deuce Robinson a week ago, or Deuce Robinson climbing up the Florida State ranks, where he, all-time seasons, we knew he needed just under 100 yards. He had that in the second quarter. He had it in 3 drives. It took 3 drives for Jaden Ball to clear 1,000 yards for the season. And not only did he get to just under 100, he damn near got to 300. 266 yards on 38 carries. Let's get to some contributions here. Aaron P. says, over under, Norvell coaches 6 games next season. I'm hoping we don't get 6 more hours, Aaron P., and I hope they change their mind, but I'm going to take the under there. This is going to – I've said it's going to get ugly a lot, but what do you think, Gene?
I would go slightly over that. I mean, I think it's definitely in the ballpark. I mean, I would set it about 7.5 if I'm setting a line on how many games he's going to coach. But that's in the ballpark. I mean, it's a little early, halfway into the season or less to fire your coach. But, I mean, if they get just completely embarrassed game after game after game, maybe you don't have a choice.
Noel Nation 2025 says, embarrassing. I wonder if the AD will change his mind, fire Norvell tomorrow and fire Tony White and Gus. I doubt it. That was more of a hopeful look into the camera moment a few minutes ago. But you know what, Gene? These guys are unpredictable. Maybe they can be unpredictable the right way. Because
but you know what? They're all about protecting their image, and they just made that statement. They doubled down on protecting Mike and bringing him back. I don't think they want to make them – they look stupid already, but I think they'll look even worse if they come back and say, oh, we've changed our mind a week later just because we lost to Florida. Nah, I don't see – we wish that happens, but it's not going to happen.
I wonder what they're going to look like by about Halloween of 2026. We shall see. That's the ride we're all going on together. Tony G., thank you for being a member of the channel right here on Warchant TV. There's a join button underneath. For 9 months he has been now. That's awesome.
Nice.
So, even with the new players, how do you get excited about with Norvell at the helm? This is absolutely horrible. Those players have to have those players have to have proven production. You probably need a new coordinator or 2 to get juice. But I'm here to tell you, there's nothing that he can say at a podium. There's nothing he can say on a booster tour, Gene, that's going to spike interest from me, speaking as one. But I think a lot of Noel fans probably feel that way too. There's nothing that Mike Norvell, specifically the person, can say between now and next year to make people go, oh, it's fixed. Eureka. That's the magic word.
That is going to be the interesting dynamic over the next several months with the, whatever they do on a booster tour, when he has these meetings or talk. I mean, it just, nobody's going to have any interest in it. It does not matter. He said these things over and over for 2 years now, and it hasn't made any difference. So I think people are done with him.
Noel for life. Thank you so much for the giant contribution there. How do I get a copy of Norvell's end of the year evaluation?
Okay, we'll put in the FOI. Let's do that right now. Let's get that request in to try to get a copy of that. I'd love to be a fly on the wall when he sits down with Alford or Collins for that one.
Yeah, I think they sit down. They just look at each other and go, right? Yes, I do. Okay, thank you. Get out of my office.
Money probably stream that live, right? And do paper.
That would be worth more than the Unconquered app monthly payment or whatever. I promise you that. UWF engineer, thank you for the contribution, says, can the admin go back on their word? Every single time this admin gives Norvell a bone, he pays them back with even worse play and coaching. Giving up a first down handoff run on 4th and 10 on their own 23 is insulting. Yeah, well, how about the 1st and 25 after there was the personal foul in the first half? And they gain 18 on the next run right up the middle. He's right. Every time, this is where I think that they have to be more mad than any of us on the outside. And I really mean that. You know how sometimes coaches say, nobody cares more than I do, like Mike does, and that's not true. I'll bet you Peter Collins and Michael Alford are madder than anybody because he's making them look like a jackass.
Oh, he keeps embarrassing them over and over and over again. And we saw, and Ira was out there at Stanford, how pissed off Alford was. At that point, imagine at this point what he's thinking. Like, I can't believe it. I backed this guy and made the statements. He goes against a 3-8 rival and does this.
Yep. 904 Noel. I'm so mad. It's not even the garbage that is this game. It's the university that straight up does not care about winning, and we have to watch this same product again next season. Embarrassing. That's how a lot of people feel right now, is that there's a clear product. There's a clear standard of success, even a base standard that we need to achieve, not being met. What gives? I get you, 904 Noel. Z-Noel, Bryn Gardner says, aside from atrocious coaching, piss poor play calling, inability to tackle, no pass rush, drop balls, missed wide open receivers, and god-awful special teams, we continue to respond and climb. Oh, there you go.
The climb. That was one of the worst kicks I've seen that wasn't like blocked or anything. I didn't see anything wrong with the whole process except the kick it was off by, half the football field.
Yeah.
You and I could go out there probably make a better kick.
Well, yeah. Well, you and I have scored as many offensive points in the first quarter as they have on the road this year,
That's
too.
That's true.
Never lose your nerve with a couple of them. Keep climbing, you know. And he says, respond and keep fighting and climbing, Thank you very much. Never lose your nerd. A wonderful sponsor of this here program all year long. They build things, they fix things. And I think it's a great time to build things and fix things around Florida State. TSpark might be able to do that, because here's what they definitely can do for you if you live in North Florida and South Georgia. If you've got an outdated bath or shower, whether it's your home or business, TSpark delivers fast, pro-level bath and shower remodels, and it could be in as little as 1 day. No fumbles, just top-quality work and a clean finish. Ready for a game-changing refresh? TSparkConstruction.com. TSpark Construction, we conquer all peaks. All righty, to the phone lines we go, and it looks like we might be without our screener tonight in Terry.
I think he's still drinking at the Warchant Cabana. He's still in there imbibing a little bit.
Understandable. I think we would be too right now. Maybe we should be. You know what? Maybe during this first phone call, I'll slam the shot of Fireball. We'll see. All right, to the 352 we go. If your number starts with 875, let me know who we're speaking with. Welcome to the program, and go ahead.
Hey, yeah, this is Jim from Ocala.
Jim, Ocala. Thank you, man. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I had a couple of things. Well, actually, three. So one of the big keys to the game was to be able to stop the run game, and then we go ahead and give 260 some odd yards to the very guy that we were supposed to stop. That's fantastic. And then the 4th and 1 call that Norvell had on our side of the field after we had just failed to get 1 yard on a play, that was it. That was the turning point in the whole game. And something that Gene, I would love it if you guys at Warchant would follow up on this and do an interview, with somebody. I was listening to the Doc Staples podcast, and he was talking about how Florida State was artificially inflating the numbers that they had for NIL, that they were including things like scholarships and cost of living and all to make it look like they were spending more than they really were. So in reality, we're spending far less than what's being told. They're going to have some difficulty with getting people to donate to NIL if if there's a lack of transparency about how much they're actually spending and how much these players are getting, and the players themselves didn't find out until I think like the 3rd game of the season, and that's when they found out how much that they were really getting.
I appreciate the call, Jim.
Yeah, Jim.
So
wrap that up.
There's a couple of things here. I can speak to one of those pieces of information about lack of communication to the players in terms of how things existed before rev share and how things existed after rev share. Because before it kicked in with the house settlement, July 1 or thereabout, it was the Battle's End or the collective for whatever school around the country pays you one sum of money, and then the university takes care of your scholarly, your cost of living, your stipend, and all that, and from a separate bucket. So it's 2 buckets. Then what it was moving over to was rev share is going to pay in one large bucket, and then if you're good enough, TBE is going to take care of you on the second level. What I can speak to what Jim is asking is that some players and agents absolutely feel like there was not enough communication to that end, to where they're used to getting one sum of money when you put all things together, and then suddenly that sum of money was reduced down to a lower amount because everything was folded into the rev share.
Well, it was a rev share. One was done through the school, one was done through the collective. It's you're comparing apples and oranges. And Tom, yeah, I don't want to cut you off there, but this was a lot of stuff that happened preseason, and this wasn't just a Florida State thing. There's a lot. Everybody was coming up with a new system to do the rev share. How do you write these deals and pay the players? In some schools like Florida State, were including tuition and stuff like that into this, and it went back and forth with the agents. There was a little bit of controversy in the beginning. A lot of that stuff got worked out at the end, and now that it's being brought up now at the end of the season to try to pull Florida State out to make them look bad.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk whoever said what, on social media, wherever this came from, but it's kind of much ado about nothing at this point, in my opinion. It's a lot. There were a lot of moving parts with what's going on. There's going to be some mistakes this college football landscape and all the contracts, what's going on, the players and all this rev share stuff, it's complicated. There's a lot of contracts that go on with this stuff. So that is not underlying the problem. It's not going to be an issue going forward for Florida State. So I appreciate the call, Jim. I understand the concern, but I really don't think there's a whole lot to this at this point.
And what we'll see is, I think in subsequent signing classes, a lot of these agents are the same. So if Florida State was blackballed because of a lack of communication, you'll see that real soon. I doubt you're going to, but I think it's going to be worth talking to if Michael Alford has a press conference again of any kind. I'm sure that question is going to come up regarding how Florida State handles these situations with rev share relative to their peers, because we have reporting from our own Irish Rafael on the message boards, which you can join. We'll tell you about that in a little bit, that say that it's not just Florida State that is considering the total cost as a compensation package, that this is potentially a standard across multiple conferences. But again, it's such a brave new world where this is all going from a financial standpoint. Gene, I got to tell you, there's a lot of misinformation out there that could cut both ways. It could be that Florida State truly is screwing players more than most others, or that this is a standard that everybody's abiding by.
I heard LSU pretty much did the same thing Florida State did. So, to pull isolate Florida State is doing this and no one else is, I just don't think that's a fair characterization of how this is going down.
Yeah, it's a little premature for that. I would agree. Gene in Ocala. We stay in Ocala for the 46th time in Warchant TV. We go to Gene in Ocala, one of our favorites. Welcome in, good sir.
What's going on, gentlemen? How you all doing this evening?
Not bad, all things considered, Gene. It's been a rough season. It was a rough night, but thank goodness it's over.
Yep. I just want to know your gut feeling whenever he did not punt that ball. It's almost like a flashback to 4 years ago, interim coach. It's like you're playing desperate. You're not playing smart. You're not coaching smart. And if there was a avalanche to take place, you yelled so all the snow could fall down on you. I didn't understand the call. Punt the ball, pin them deep, and let your defense work. I know we were having some problems, but it did seem like they were doing some things at least to encourage. I don't know if you guys, I know you guys remember because you guys have been here. We've been in this relationship of trying to soothe each other's soul for the Florida State situation for the past 6 years, except for 1 year. But every time he gets, it's like he gets anxious and he doesn't read the field. He doesn't understand the momentum side of playing this game. This game means a lot. That's just like with Alford and everything that you all are talking about. Basically, I'm in here with house money. I can go ahead and throw the dice and just roll and do whatever I want to do because I know I got I got money. I'm not. You're not going to fire me, so I can just coach and do whatever I want to do. And then we get embarrassed by a 3-8 team. And if you remember, we got embarrassed by Miami. If you remember, it was like that at Clemson. So all three of your rivals, you didn't show up. You didn't do anything. And Malzone, they talked about him. Oh, well, I usually have a bell cow. Coach, you're the offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Run number 28. Number 28 came in one time again, had a 10-yard, 16-yard run, and then you never see Singleton again. I don't get it. It's always go Noles. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for what you do. It's just, man, this is frustrating whenever these individuals who make the money moves, who make the power moves, put you in this predicament to not even want to like your own school to the point of, man, I might as well just turn it off and just wait for the call-in show because I know I can get some good therapy with everybody else that's love this game. Gene, thank you for what you do. Tom, appreciate everything that you guys do. Hopefully, first game next year, we meet up at the CP, but it's always go Noles. Y'all have an outstanding day, outstanding night, and happy holidays to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gene. Good stuff. Gene, speaking to my heart, man. Yeah, good call. I've been since day one, and, we've been doing the show, Tom, when I've been the fourth down calling by Norvell, but you knew he was going to go for it. And I think Gene made the point that's my point. And analytics probably said to go for it on that one. I'm guessing it would. But my point is what Gene said. He does not read the room. He doesn't understand momentum. He doesn't understand what's going on in this game. When Florida State had tried to do anything between the tackles, anything in the game, there has been nothing there.
Yep.
And, they third down, and you knew, I go, what I told the group here, I go, it's 3rd and 1.5 or whatever it was. I go, he knows it's a 2-down territory here, so he's going to run it up the middle. Florida knew it was coming. They stacked the box. They stuffed it, and then the 4th and short. And, of course, he's not going to punt the ball because he doesn't care that at a precarious point of the game, you could have pinned him way back, only down 3 points. If you lose it there, all the momentum's there. They go down and score. That's ball game, and that's exactly what happened. How many times have we seen this situation play out over and over and over with Norvell? When he does this at the wrong time, he goes for it when you're not going to pick it up, and the game changes on that play.
Yeah, a ton. And I thought, honestly, so they called a 3rd and 1.5 run, or it might have been 3rd and 2, and it was Roydell up the middle. It was a delayed sprint up the middle.
That's the delay, too, drives me bananas. Out of a shotgun.
Well, they also called a delayed run with 20 seconds to go or 17 seconds to go when they're trying to get down the field. I'm like, you understand that actually counts for a second or two. The hell are you doing? But when he walked out after that play was stopped short, Gene, he was on the field near the numbers, and he looked over his shoulder back at the first down marker, back where the ball was spotted, and there was no conviction in Mike Norvell's eyes about going for it in that moment. He didn't predetermine what was going on. He was weighing it, and you could tell in his mind he was thinking it over. And
we knew there was 100% chance he was going for it.
It's just, if you're going to hesitate at all in that moment, then we know what you need to do, which is just punt the friggin' ball. And I think in that moment of the game, momentum was, as you said, neutral / slightly in Florida State's favor. It hadn't been for much of the evening, but it was
because they were only down 3 points and they were driving the ball down the field. And it's like, oh my God, Florida State could take the lead here.
Yeah. The other part of it is I thought, and there's nothing a coach can do. I understand this. I understand there's nothing a coach can do when he's losing to look good or say in a press conference. But I thought the game hadn't been lost yet. On the sideline, he looked totally flat tonight. I mean, last week he had that false, tap his shoulder, Matthew McConaughey, Wolf of Wall Street nonsense. But tonight he looked like he did at his presser this past Monday, which is, I can't believe I'm still here. That's the energy that I got. And there's just no inspiration there. And did you hear what the commentator said about Tommy Castellanos and his comments? We put it up on our Twitter. So it was the field reporter talking about how Tommy Castellanos had mentioned that they had problems on the road, and Tommy said that he thought that they got nervous and they get rattled on the road. So he told the TV crew this week that they have a road problem where they all get nervous and they play rattled. What a thing for a super senior quarterback to say to a TV crew during the week of a rivalry game, to admit that they're rattled on the road. Gene, whose responsibility is it if you play rattled and you play scared? We all know.
At least he was honest, because that's what they look like. They look scared.
I buy it all the way. Marlon in Miami. We go for the 28th time in Warchant TV's postgame call-in show. Welcome to the program, and go ahead.
Hey, Tom. Hey, Gene. How y'all doing? Happy holidays before I get into my rant.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
From the lunch lady who serves the honey chicken to the AD, everybody needs to go because of the cancer this dude has put on this program. We're about the softest thing in the worst conference. And to be honest, we need to stay in this conference because there's no way in hell we're going to play any football in the Big Ten or in the SEC the way we have played the past 6 years under this dude, including the 13-0 season, because we were barely winning. And I'm sorry, this 19-game winning streak, that's done. Don't ever count that ever again under Mike Norvell. This dude is a cancer. He needs to go. I'm far from a Golden Chief, but if I was, I would be talking to every Golden Chief to move this money to basketball and to baseball, because this program is destined to become Nebraska or even worse, because we're almost there. 10 years and all we got is the ACC championship. I'm sorry, but there's a cancer on this program, and it needs to be gutted. The guy who cuts the grass, the lunch lady, everybody, the ticket person has to go, because he put a cancer on this program that, I'm sorry, I've been a fan since 1985, and I've never seen us this way right now. Not even through the dark decade that everybody was. We were winning ACC championships. We were competitive. We had spirit. Ricks gets a bad rap, but he put a hell of an effort when we played these bums from Gainesville. This cancer, this dude has to go. I'm sorry, guys. I love y'all. Gene, thank you for everything. But damn it, go Noles, man. But this cancer has to go.
Thank you, Marlon. We appreciate that.
A lot of passion there. I love it, though.
Well, they kind of said that the guy who cuts the grass needs to go, because they did a lay-in play before the season started, so they replaced that with a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know, Gene, I wish they didn't buy that Jumbotron for when they came $20 million under budget on the stadium renos. Could they have used the $20 million right now? I bet they could have.
Put a little dent in that buyout.
Yeah, thank you, Marlon. We appreciate your passion as always, man. ZML says, with all the bad football, bad decisions, and getting banned from the message boards, it'll be a nice college football diet. See you boys next year. Whatever did you do, ZML? But thank you very much for the contributions.
I think I've got a couple emails from him trying to refer him on to the moderators, because I don't know why he got banned.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, there's been a lot of banning. I guess there's a lot of frustrations. My email, my DMs have been blowing up by people getting banned lately.
I happened by the TC this morning, and boy, oh boy. Noel Kev, one of our favorites. National perception of Florida State University, not serious about football, a broken program, a blue blood, but so was Nebraska. Look at the national response to FSU keeping Mike. Even other programs are shocked. Yeah, I hear you, and I feel what Marlon feels about gutting the whole thing. Gene, it feels exactly the same as last year did today. Like I know that the record is 3 wins improved, but doesn't it feel like, as we're doing this post-game show, that there is?
It was almost worse, because last year you were just. I mean, after that BC game in Game 2, you just kind of like it was done.
Yeah,
and we just wrote it out. You actually got a little bit of false hope between the Alabama and the 2 cupcakes early on. There was like hope. Oh, he did turn this thing around, and then you just got kicked in the ass and beat up over and over and over again to say, no, you're not back, and we're going to show you how bad you are. And just that loss to Stanford felt as bad as that loss to Jacksonville State to me a few years ago. The famous Adam Fuller prevent defense there in that final play. It gutted. So, but it was a stark realization that this is 2 years of being awful to being a laughing stock.
Yep, agreed. It broke me. Everybody knows that. I'm usually a guy who's pretty measured and reasoned. That Stanford one, that was it. Turned me into Jeff. Tally Tomcat, thank you very much for the contribution. Says, Gene, can I get some Warchant press credentials so I can ask some questions at the presser?
I don't think Warchant wants to lose all their credentials. So unfortunately, I get the motivation. Tomcat, I know you want to get there and say your piece, but
is that our guy? Where's the loyalty? Because that certainly looks like him. In the picture, it could be.
It does look a little like him.
Looking good, man. Kelly says FSU cannot go another year having a quarterback that can't see over the offensive line. Here. Kelly, here. Florida Man in Alabama, thank you for being a member of the channel for 4 months. He says, we made it to the end, Tom and Gene. Thanks for the great content every week. On to FSU playoff soccer, basketball, and baseball. Go Noles.
How about soccer and making the College Cup? Beating up on Ohio State, always like that. Never liked the Buckeyes.
I agree. Yeah, coming from where you come from, absolutely. Yeah, 4-1 was the score last night. I think Stanford is who they've got in the College Cup coming up.
It's the all ACCs. There are three ACC members in there. How about that?
You know, when Jim Phillips cares about something, it succeeds, Gene.
Well, I'm that field hockey and soccer, man. We got no equals.
We now go to Noles 93. Noles 93 in Tallahassee. Looks like he wants to talk about that 4th and 1 call. I can't imagine why.
Oh,
welcome in, Noles 93. Go ahead.
I'm going to change a little bit. First, I want to know how many things Mickey Andrews broke tonight watching that run defense. I can't imagine what he broke in his house. 2, I want to thank Collins, Alford, McCullough for giving us a preview of what we get to look forward to next year for 12 games. For 3 people who are supposed to be leaders in this university, I cannot believe they didn't have a contingency in case things went south after they gave this man $10 million a year. It is ridiculous what we have become. And it's on those 3 now to fix it, and they need to fix it quickly. Thank you, guys. Hopefully next year will be a little bit better, but I don't see it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Noles.
Thank you, Noles. Yep.
And that's the energy, Gene, that we felt right after the game from the fan base. It's not just the folks who are predetermining that they're against somebody. Noles 93 sounds like a reasonable dude who is just calling it for what it is, which is
and isn't that the underlying issue here? Like, what is there to look forward to? So last year, we're like, okay, you changed both coordinators, a bunch of new coaches, a bunch of stuff. And really, it wasn't that much different. So you can shake things up. It's, again, reorganizing the chairs on the Titanic. It exactly feels that way. We're just going to crash into another iceberg next year. There's no reason to think that that's not going to happen again.
Totally agree. And that's the frustrating thing. It wasn't even the Stanford game that broke people this year that were undecideds or more than fair and patient. It was the Pitt home game. And then Stanford was just a giant-ass cherry on top. John in Boise, one of our rising favorites for the 7th time we speak to him this season. John, you are on.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
Doing well. How are you?
What's going on, guys? I'm out here in Boise, sitting out here by my fire pit. It's 39 degrees. It's going to get down to about 31 to 29 tonight.
It's warm for Boise.
So it's nice and warm. We got actually some more of a warm front that came in. But I'm sitting here. I went through a half a bottle of wild turkey today. I'm so pissed off and aggravated. We got our nuts stomped in the ground again. I just don't get it. You know, the question I got for you, I was looking over the numbers for next year. When it comes to the NIL, we have to, no doubt about it, got to spend more than $25 million next year, or we cannot compete. If we get rid of Gus and we get rid of Tony, who's next? Who's out there that we can actually work with? It's got less than that because, you know, we have to get back on track because this is absolutely disgusting. I had 40 people here at my house, all wearing orange and blue for Boise State, running their mouths because they won last night. I'm the laughing stock out here because I'm the only Florida State fan out here, and it's disgusting, you know. And then to listen to these Gator fans just chomp their mouth on the game. Yeah, you beat us, but still, you have a worse record than us. But it's nothing to brag about. But I just don't get it, you know. I would just like to figure out what are we doing. It's like you think about what is Chuck Amato doing, linebacker coach. He was there. How much would he be in their ass telling them to blitz that quarterback? We don't have that. We have no fire at all on that defensive side of the ball, you know, and it's just aggravating. So I'll see you guys next year. Hey, are you guys gonna have anything for the National Signing Day? Are you guys gonna have a show?
We'll have a special.
I hope not. I'll see you guys next year.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you, John. I don't know that it'll be a call-in, but we'll have some sort of special.
Video program. I don't know if we're going to do. We used to do live back when recruiting was a thing, but I don't think it's going to be that. Except we'll definitely do a call. We'll have Michael and Matt, everybody on there, breaking down the class. But you know, so far now it's going to be interesting. The next couple of weeks, Tom, is next couple of weeks. Geez, it's only a few days away.
Yep.
It's hard to believe signing day is coming up that quick this next Wednesday. But yeah, we'll have a full breakdown of that. And so far, I mean, they're holding a decent class, I should say. It's being held together. Now we'll see. It doesn't matter until those guys sign, so we'll see if it holds up.
Yeah, here's a nugget that I can share in terms of Florida State's cap or revenue or NIL, whatever you want to call it. Here's what they have to share from any source as we sit here tonight on the 29th of November. It can change. Support can leave. There could be support that's rallied and financial commitments that are rallied between now and the portal. I think that's the bigger day that we're looking at. I'm told that as it stands right now, outside of 2026 commitments for people that are coming back, multi-year rev share agreements, things like that, Gene, Florida State's looking between $5 and $7 million of room right now with which to attack the portal and fill its holes in the roster. Which, if you're trying to go get yourself a high-priced quarterback, and replace at least 4 or 5 offensive linemen because there are going to be 6 guys, including Jacob Rizzi, who was a backup to start the year, who don't have eligibility anymore. Edge rushers, like to go shopping, they've got between $5 and $7 million as we sit here tonight. They could cajole money from somebody. I don't know who between now and then. That's not a whole lot of money, and I can't tell you the breakdown of, well, that means that the NIL budget over the rev share is $4 million. I don't know that. What I do know is that whether you're pulling from rev share or NIL, that's what the total that they have to work with right now on the 29th of November, which, Gene, that feels a little light to me, but that's also understandable.
Well, do you bring Sperry back? I mean, if you want to have that discussion right now, that saves you some money right there. I mean, I saw enough out of him. I would like to give him a shot. I would rather invest that money in an offensive line. And like you said, some edge rushers and linebackers dedicated to that. Let the young man develop. But again, a lot of that's going to go into who are you going to bring in as the offensive line, the offensive coordinator. I'm assuming that along there's going to be a new quarterbacks coach. I believe there needs to be a new quarterbacks coach to work with him, someone who knows what they're doing. And I think that's the path you have to go at this point, or Fisher cut bait with him, because if you can't blow, I mean, what's the market right now for a high-end transfer quarterback? It's several $1 million, so you can't blow most of that on one player. Jerry Jones likes to do that kind of crap, and I mean that's why Dallas has been pretty bad lately. So I would say that would be if I'm playing GM, that's how I would approach this thing.
What you have to hope is that the market comes down, because a lot of these deals, including the Carson Beck deal that was much ballyhooed for $3 million, $4 million, some people said $5 million. A lot of that was front loaded because House had not kicked in.
True.
So maybe these numbers come down a little bit, but still, Florida State's going to have to be pretty smart here. But if it is Sperry, Gene, then obviously you're signaling to everybody that this is a rebuild year again next year. What they tried to do this year, which is win 7 or 8 games, they failed to do. That's going to be the goal again next year. I think it is going to be either way. But if you decide that Sperry is going to be the leader in the clubhouse, you get your signee in the 26th class and maybe a low-level transfer, I don't know. Like, damn, that's a tough message. You better spend a lot of money on guys in the portal, and you better.
Yeah, but you might. I think if your goal is to win the most games and you have a limited budget to do this, it seems like the only path to get a high-end quarterback, get another DJ Ugalungale and do that, and then spend a bunch of money on that. FSU's been 0 for 2 on transfer quarterbacks. I'm not that optimistic of them doing it again. Build within, get the fundamental pieces in place, and then hopefully develop that guy like a normal thing. Get a young quarterback who's got some talent and develop him. I know that's a novel concept these days, especially for Florida State, but that's how you get things done.
Well, another part of the mess here, it's like pulling a spider web, is that Tony Tokarz and Gus didn't have similar philosophies. I don't think
it was a horrible match.
I don't think Tony was used at all this year. Not to be a staunch defender of Tony, but I don't think Tony wanted Tommy. I know he didn't want DJ a year ago. So guys that he's not even believing in are being brought in. You could replace a quarterback's coach. It's not going to be the end of the world if Tony's not here anymore, Gene. But like when Gus was brought in, I always thought, so is Gus going to trust Tony to help make the quarterback better? I don't think it worked that way, which is just another part of the
dysfunction.
I mean, it's just insane. We go to Orlando now, and we're speaking to Jack in Orlando. Jack, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
I have defended this man to no end, and I'm about done, like everyone else. My freshman year, I watched Francois suffer that leg injury. I watched Jimbo jump ship, our first game of the season in 2017 against Alabama. I watched the Willie Taggart clown fiesta, and now I'm watching this dumpster fire. I feel like I've only known disappointment here. Sure, we had the 13-0 season, and we got snubbed from the playoffs. The on-field interview with Norvell was the moment where I saw that he really doesn't want the job anymore. I watched him cupping his hands around his mouth, screaming away, and the entire team has their back to him. We watched a school like LSU come in and make a hire like Brian Kelly, who simply wasn't an SEC coach. Is that what this is? Are we going through something similar here? And then where do we look? I know someone mentioned that question earlier, but I didn't catch an answer there. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you, Jack. Well, first of all, the coordinators have to leave for us to look somewhere. I think the more important thing is who will look. Is Mike Norvell in charge, Jack, and everybody else?
That's a great Yeah, that's a great point. If you were on our Renegade room, I wrote a little kind of some thoughts and some tea leaves, a couple little nuggets, and that's one of the things I pointed out. That the vibe is that FSU is going to bring some type of GM to help with talent acquisition, evaluation, roster management. And if you're going to do that, and that person's going to be making these decisions, as he probably should, since the current head coach who's been making those decisions doesn't have a great batting average. So if you're going to do that, I think that person is going to bring in someone, not Mike Norvell. I would hope that that's going to happen, which means you need to get that person in place too. And that's going to be the biggest hire for this next season or two that's going to go right now. Who are you going to bring to be that GM?
Yep. And depending upon who you talk to, Gene, some people believe the GM will be installed middle of next month ahead of the portal. Some people believe the GM won't be installed till after the portal is over.
Well, that makes no sense then. What's the point?
I'm here to tell you, if that comes to pass, then what was the point of any of this? I would hope that GM is installed like soon.
Yeah, I get it's not going to affect this high school recruiting class. Forget it. I mean, it's done. Even if he came in tomorrow, it wouldn't make any difference at this point. But I mean, you absolutely have to have him, because not only for the portal, Tom, it's the roster retention. Who do you want to bring back? There's a lot of guys on this team. He may go, he's going to make the decisions on the NIL and the revenue share and all that. And we go, Desir Twins, we're going to put a little extra to make sure, because I know they may have another year on their contract, but they can leave. It's not going to be, if Miami wants to come in and pay him a boatload of money, they don't care. They're going to pay that extra money to get them out of that contract. But that GM may come in and say, okay, we need to keep these guys. We need to divert a little bit of money to them. So it's not only for the portal, it's for the roster management. All that goes hand in hand, because players you lose, then you need to go in the portal and get them. So all that, the GM needs to make those tough decisions. And if you're going to leave that to Mike Norvell, we've seen what's happened the last 2 years when he's been in charge of this stuff. So this would be another fumble by the administration if they wait till after the portal time to do this.
We're all watching the admin like a hawk. It's not about Mike anymore. It's about watching the people above Mike, and it's going to be an interesting month ahead. We're going to tell you about how you can sign up for it less than ever at Warchant pretty soon. We're going to take a break after this. Kiss OD says, please, no threats on coaches or families. If that's going on in the chat right now,
what?
Take your ass to a different channel.
Boot them out. Please boot them out.
Go. Just in case that's something that Kiss OD is seen as responding to. This is not the channel for you. We don't condone any of that nonsense. Nope. We will be back in 90 seconds, however, with more of your phone calls and your reactions right here in the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show, built by TSpark Enterprises.
It rains 130 days a year in Tallahassee, which is 1.7 million gallons of water coming down, plus 500 pounds of leaves piling up on your roof, and maybe a tree branch or two. We spend 23.5 hours a day thinking about roofs. We've driven 60,000 miles in a year serving our customers. We've climbed 2,000 ladders to install over 100,000 shingles. You've got one roof. Let TSpark worry about the rest.
Head back to the phones in a second. Brad's note here is the important thing. The concern I have with the general manager is, will this person have the authority to do what has to be done? Yeah, that's what we're watching. Who hires the GM? Is it Alford? Is it Mike Norvell? Is it the board of trustees? That's question number one. And then question number two is, what is Mike Norvell in charge of? And what is the general manager in charge of? And if they don't want the same thing, who gets to go and demand and dictate what happens?
These are great questions, Tom. This is going to be fascinating to see how this the tree works out of who's doing what, who's hiring who's in charge of what. You know, if you bring in another coordinator like Malzahn and you have a GM, what is Mike doing?
Yep, right.
What's he doing? He's doing these press conferences we just talked about. No one's going to listen to him. He's going to talk to the team. Nobody listens to him. So he's basically a figurehead making $10 million a year.
Could be making 8 if you fired him because you get 20% discount. Richard in Cummings. Welcome, Richard. Go to the phone. Yep, there you go. It clicked over just now. Richard, welcome to the program. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. How we doing? I was hoping for a better night.
Yeah,
all of us.
I figured I knew everybody was going to call in about the 4th and 1 because as soon as I saw 4th and 1 and they were going for it on the 40, all I could hear in my head was Forrest Gump saying "stupid is and stupid does." But the question I have is Norvell, is he kind of more the fruit of the poisonous tree where the bad decisions are being made higher up, and until something changes at the extreme high levels of the university, is this just not going to change? I mean, it's at what point does the people who benefit from the program, I mean, the program brings in a lot of money in terms of science labs, in terms of the amount of money that comes in for the Art Center, for everything that we've done, the Langford Green, everything that comes in, that all has stemmed from the football program. At what point does that money start drying up and the people high up realize, okay, we're not doing something right here, and Norvell isn't the problem, it's just the symptom of a bigger problem? Does the university have a bigger problem that we need to address?
It's a good call, Richard. I think that's another general question that people are starting to ask now. I think last year they decided on a course, which was they didn't want to fire Norvell. They wanted to bring in new coordinators and run it back that way. That is a standard response to failure, Gene. That's not something that Florida State was a trailblazer in executing as a strategy. This kind of is, though, because when you bring in 2 coordinators and it gets a little bit better, but not a whole lot better, and you decide to double, or in this case, triple down on the head coach, that is a time when it's worth, I think, shifting your eyes from the head coach at the podium to the people standing aside from the podium that are rooting him on. And that's where I think we all are right now. I don't know if it's a symptom of a greater problem, but I think that's what this year's referendum is going to be. We already know what Mike has been, right, Gene? Like, this is now going to be about the higher level. I think we're asking that question, what Richard's asking, in real time moving forward here.
Well, yeah, I think you brought up a really good point earlier, Tom, about the administration has done a lot of good things. You think about the other coaches have been really good hires, baseball, soccer, some other ones. I mean, up until last night, maybe basketball, it seemed like Luke Laus was a good hire. I still think he's a good hire. And what they did suing the ACC, and let's face it, it was a tremendous win, even though it was a settlement. I mean, they got everything they wanted and more. But are they going to be defined by how they've handled the football team and Mike Norvell? I mean, like you said, it was they double down and triple down. And this is the cash cow. And right now, you're killing the cash cow. And it's going to be, what happens here next season. There's so many fascinating storylines. Nothing the fans want to be interested in. What's going to go on over the next couple of months? We just talked about a few of them, but also the interest in the program, the ticket sales, the boosters, the licensing. All these revenue streams that fund athletics and some of the university. I'm very worried a lot of these are just going to dry up very quickly. And I wonder if this administration has not looked ahead to other revenue they're going to lose by going on the course that they've decided.
Yeah, I hope they have. And in a sense, they say, well, we've got 2 bad options here. We're going to take the lesser of the 2 bad options, and people are going to hate us for it. But we're going into this eyes wide open. If they haven't considered that would be very, very troubling. Either way, though, you and I both agree on this, Gene. At the time that Mike Norvell was extended, that was the right move with the information before them in that moment. Like, I don't kill them for extending Mike Norvell after with Alabama.
Well, it seems like they could have been some guardrails. I know we're playing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, and I did something to get to. I agree 100%. They were up against a wall in that situation. They would have gotten roasted at the pit had they let Mike Norvell go. But I think, you have to put some guardrails on. I mean, you always got to plan for the worst here. And they just assumed after 13-0, it's glorious. We're just going to keep winning ACC championships and having great seasons. But, I mean, that is pie in the sky bullshit. You can't think that way because we've seen college sports stuff can change on a dime, and it did here. And now you're stuck with this because you didn't put a few good. You really think lowering that buyout a little bit Mike Norvell, if you would have cut that thing in half, is he really going to say, well, screw that? I'm only going to get $30 million out of this thing instead of $60 million. If you fire me in a couple of years, I'm going to Alabama. Really? You couldn't have fought that a little bit more? To me, that's the only blame I give on them, and how they handled some of the assistant coaches back then too, and renewing all those guys too, when nobody was going after Alex Atkins, no one was going after Fuller, but yet you gave them huge contracts too. So they did. They're not blameless in this situation.
No, they're not. And you're fair to point out the coordinators and the assistant coaches. I 100% agree with you in that regard. Like, I don't know. I think in that moment when they extended him, the tea leaves were pointing to this is the right move. We just got usurped by Alabama in the playoff. We can't allow that to happen with the coach. But the point that I was going to end up with was you can most certainly put them on the chopping block for last year's decision to just fire coordinators and not fire the head man. Like that 100%, you had a choice there at 2-10, and they chose not to go after Mike Norvell, and then to do it again. Yeah, man, that's 2 in a row for me. That's 2 in a row.
Well, they gave him every chance to succeed. That's the thing. And the thing I will say the administration has done everything they can. So I don't think it's their fault. They've given Mike all the tools. He's got to hire any support staff he wanted, paid a lot of money for coordinators. This is not top 5, 10 NIL. I get it. But it's top 20 probably, right, Tom? I'd say after the estimates I've seen around number 20. You're not seeing top 20 here. Not even close the last 2 years for what you're paying. So Mike Norvell has been giving everything by this administration, by the collective, to be able to be somewhat successful, and he's failed miserably.
This is literally the worst program in the ACC in football the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Literally the worst. Last place. 3 wins. Last place.
Compare your NIL to Virginia, to Georgia Tech, to all these teams that are beating your ass right now.
That is right. Yep. It's not just about the road games and people are like, oh, enough with the road thing. No, there are 3 wins in the ACC in the last 2 seasons. That is the worst. It's worse than Boston College, Syracuse, Cal, Stanford, you name it. Everybody's ahead of Florida State in the standings the last 2 years in the ACC. Zeno says, totally agree with you, Tom. Still time to make a change. Been a booster student alumni for more than 48 years and have never felt worse. Thank you, Zeno. Josh says, everyone pitch in for the lottery. There you go, Josh. Fuzzy Balls, love that name, says they hired Norvell from Memphis. The Noles are basically Memphis from a talent level. FSU Memphis game would essentially be a pick 'em. Well, they lost that game last year, Fuzzy.
They did. Memphis has been much better.
Yeah, Memphis has passed Florida State since Mike Norvell left Memphis to take over Florida State. That was another injury to insult. Mises, thank you very much, or Mrs. Thank you for the super sticker there. We go back to the phone lines. Here he is. Been waiting a half an hour. From Wyoming, it's our guy, 100 Proof.
All right.
We get a little send-off from 100 Proof. Go ahead, sir. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. I'm going to try my best to keep my cool tonight, you guys. It is 29 degrees. Shout out to my other Mountain West Boise guy out there that called in earlier. Look, everybody's talking about how they can't wait. They got to wait and see what this administration is going to do and all that. I got a couple of thoughts. Got to talk about this coaching. I got to let you know this is the most rushing yards ever in a Florida State game. This is asinine as a 10. Don't forget, Norvell is also responsible for the worst loss in FSU history against Georgia a few years ago. Don't forget, he's also responsible for the worst season in FSU history. What else do we have to see? We ran the greatest coach in the history of college football out of town after 7 and 6 seasons. And this man is running the program into the ground. The team has tuned this man out like he's a thrice divorced wife by her 4th husband. I can't take the nagging no more. Nothing matters that this guy is doing. And he's as same as Willie. I don't care that he's not walking around sucking on dum-dums during practice and not even doing anything. The results are the same. They can't get the players on the field when it's time on 4th down. They can't catch punts. They can't do anything. I thought after NC State and his opening statement to the entire program and Nole Nation was about special teams and the way that game ended last week, I thought that had to be it. That was the fitting bow on it. You can't say it better than that. But that takes me to the next part, which is the administration, who is ultimately killing this program. I heard Jeff, I heard Corey, everybody talk about when apathy sets in, it's a terrible thing. Screw apathy. I'm down to resentment. These people are killing the program. Okay, they're focused on luxury boxes and everything else. Whether you like him, love him, or hate him, Jimbo Fisher called out the problems of this program 8 or 9 years ago and saw what was coming down the road institutional wise. And they've been focused on making our stadium smaller like NC State and having luxury boxes and concessions. Now they're in over their head and they don't know how they're going to afford to fix the program. But the program is what matters. We need to get some Southern coaches in here, not no MAC, not no middle of the road, whatever. We got to get people that know how to win down south, recruit down south, and I can't take it no more. This is it, man. It's the last straw. I mean, 8 straws ago, but it's not too late. I know the administration made a statement last week. Hey, Mike Norvell just made his own statement tonight. No statement needed. Cut bait. Let's get this thing going. If you hire new coaches, coordinators, it takes a couple years to get coordinators to get their systems in. You're putting us further and further behind the 8 ball before this thing can turn around. It's time to cut bait. And much love to you guys. Much love to Warchant. I'll hang up and listen to what y'all got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, 100 Proof. We appreciate it.
Thank you, buddy. Always a solid caller. Thank you, 100 Proof.
That was a statement delivered. And I'll share something that family gets to cut the line. My brother-in-law, who's one of the most stoic people I know when it comes to important business matters. He's a businessman by nature. He's a great guy. He decided that tonight was enough. He texted to me, what is the plan again? You have to do it or you look like fools. I would ask for the whole athletic department at this point. Yeah, I'm telling you, if my brother-in-law, Justin, who is the most even-minded person, texts something like that, that is akin to Lee Corso being mad at you. Like, who is Lee Corso ever mad at? He's like the nicest guy in the world. It's breaking people. This is breaking people. And if you didn't think, or if you thought rather that today doesn't matter, that playing your rivals doesn't matter when you're down, this again, Gene, has successfully pissed people off because Florida just ran it down your throat for 3.5 hours today. And you knew it was coming, and there was nothing you could do to stop it. These types of things matter. They take a toll on people, and you can hear it in a lot of people's voices, including 100 Proof right there.
Yeah. Let's not forget it. It came in as a 3-8 Florida team that just fell. They were down 31-0 on that same field the week before by another rival. So it wasn't like they're perfectly willing to lay down for you on there, but you just gave them every possibility. Just let them keep running the ball down your throat. And I think a couple of things 100 Proof and all these. He was very adept at pointing out all of Mike Norvell's new criteria he set at Florida State, all the records he's setting. I think he has now the record for the most losses on the road in a row. And let's not forget he was the first coach to lose to Duke. Duke could never beat Florida State. So he's continuing to add that tally up. So, maybe break some more records left here. I don't know what's left. Maybe FSU hasn't had a season where they never won a game. Maybe he'll pull that off next year.
Yeah, do I hear 1,250 days without a road win? Because it's going to go over 1,000. We have a lot of contributors here. Florida Man in Alabama, after seeing FSU's success with Power 5 coaches, if I were UF, I'd keep Billy Gonzalez and bring in better players and staff. Just remember our new motto, shrug. Thank you, Florida Man in Alabama. Jeffrey says, so what's the there's no legal means that going back on a statement, fire him anyway? I know it's wishful thinking, but please, I don't need another year of this crap. Understood. I agree. I made my appeal. I looked in the camera. I said it, Jeffrey. Thank you. Mark says you cannot have him speak at ACC Media Days. Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, who's going to, again, it's a whole thing. I mean, we're going to send a staff up to ACC, and it's like everyone's going to be like, well, we're going to get like 0 views on his video because nobody's going to care.
Are we going to send a
Well, there'll be people watch it to get mad, maybe. When he says, we're going to win a championship.
Derek says, if Norvell's buyout is out of the question, what would you do if you were the AD?
I'd get another job.
Thank you,
Don't be surprised Alfred ends up somewhere else in a few months.
Great.
If I'm him, I'm jumping ship.
Great answer. Yeah, and you know what? I don't think people would say, oh, no. Spartan Old 71, my mom did raise an idiot, but my brother has nothing to do with me. I'm done. No money from me next year. First all the way to go Navy, beat Army 2026. You got those teams backwards there. Life of Bill, FSU should have to address the issues with the linebacker core this offseason.
Horrific. Oh,
they did nothing, and that linebacker core is the worst I've ever seen.
Tom, I know you watch a lot of those things, and you're into the X's and O's. I mean, is there, in your opinion, a worse linebacker core than Florida State's? among the Power Four, let's say.
Probably not. It's been the same thing. You're just watching the same. It's a different scheme, but you're seeing the same hesitancy, the same catching of blocks, the same
bad angles, poor
bad
tackling.
angles. I mean, shit. There was a play. Sorry, there was a play where there's a run to the left, and Herring is trying to cut off Ball, and he runs in front of him, and Ball just. I mean, like.
I know. The whole people were sitting watching the game were all like, "What was he doing on that play?"
Was he just like? Was he trying to pick out a spot on the grass and calculating? He's like, I'm going to get.
There's a couple plays you see. There's a gap. There's a gap, and the linebacker's there. And instead of going into the gap, he'll run right into the offensive lineman.
John Papuchis has made a lot of money at Florida State, hadn't he? Angela, because he's coaching linebackers this year. Thank you, Tom and Gene, for a great season in Gainesville, and even the Gators don't really know what to make of that. Yeah, I'm sure they don't. And they're happy, and we're not today. Despite them being 3-8 entering today, they're the ones that are walking away happy and looking like a far more physical team. Let's go back to the phone lines, and we're going to hit Ryan in Santa Rosa. Ryan, go for it. Welcome to the program, good sir.
TSpark Enterprises. Oh, hey guys, sorry. I provide my own hold music sometimes while I'm waiting. Hey, good thing I'm at home. I'm on the couch. I'm here. I'm not away, so I'm not rattled. I'm not away, so I'm able to have a reasonable conversation right now, being that I'm at home. It's not all negative. I mean, we can't stop the run. We can't kick field goals. We can't recruit. Our pets' heads are falling off for good. But anyway. What I do have to say is the line was 1.5. Florida was favored 1.5, and I don't understand it. I've heard all kinds of narratives on people that believe that we would win that. For me, I'm not trying to be negative, but I just wasn't seeing it. I look at Florida's schedule. They played Long Island University in week 1 and beat them 55-0. Outside of that, if anyone takes the time to look at their schedule, I don't see a W on there for Florida State. I really don't. There was USF, and then there was a bunch of SEC teams that, yes, Florida loses to, but we play lesser tier teams in the ACC, and we can't beat them. So we're not on the same tier in that regard. And that's negative. I get it. That's all I have to say about that. What I do want to thank you guys. I love you guys. I think we had a good year as far as our social media platform and all that goes. And I hope we can do keg stands at the corner pocket and we can all meet later and put this shit behind us and go Noles. Love you.
Thank you, Ryan. We appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, it seems like a long time ago, those keg stands, man. That was a good time. But boy, have things changed since that wonderful afternoon.
We're doing keg stands for 7 wins the next year. Is that what we're doing keg stands for? Because I'm telling you, the message to all of us out here is that the standard is lower, and it's got a new floor, and it's in the basement. Jim in Tampa, you are well. Let me say this for those of you who are in the queue right now: Jim, Ralph, Nick, and Chris. You are safe. No new callers. We took the phone line off the board a little bit ago, but no new callers, just to save Terry the headache of having to turn people away. We now go to Tampa to talk to Jim in Tampa. Welcome to the program. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, thanks, guys. Hey, I was going to give you the whole, this key part of the game. After the first half, my thought was, hey, Tony White's got to stack the line, run blitzes, get a key stop. And he did all that. 2 sacks on that first drive. And they punt. Florida State's driving third. And Tommy, as usual, slides too early. I don't think he realizes that the refs mark it where he starts to slide. Okay? So there it goes. This has happened a million times. I did not have a problem with the 4th and 1. I had a problem with the play call 3rd and 1. You hand it to Roy Dell. What? Okay, I get it. Whatever. Then the 4th down. Game over. 2 plays later, Gators score. That was it. So that part, I believe though that if Tommy slides when he's supposed to, if the Noles score, I do believe the defense would have been engaged, and it could have been different. Would they have won? I don't know, but I believe that moment, that was it for them. It was over. They said, I'm not going to tackle this guy. So that was that. But that was the key moment, and it always happens. 3rd and 1, it never works. The 4th down play is, and it's always the play call. 2 in a row, always 2 bad play calls. Okay, Now, the main, when I was listening to all these callers while on hold, it was just like, where is it written that you can't fire a head coach with a big buyout? Why, at the beginning of the year after they beat Alabama, I was so fired up about Tony White when he was talking about Earl Little, saying, this guy wants to knock your soul out. I mean, I said, hire him. But and I don't know, maybe Tony White could be the greatest head coach in the world, but he's not going to demand $10 million. Where is it? Why can't you find an up and coming DC? There's many schools that have developed head coaches. Dan Lanning was once a nothing. Okay. Now he's a $12 million guy. Where is it written that this administration can't find that up and coming OC that isn't going to hold the program hostage? And then we can fire. Well, the problem is the head coach. So I'm going to hang up. Where is it written that maybe Tony White, look, I don't like his defense, but maybe he brings in a good DC that can inspire. Maybe Tony White's a great recruiter. Just get me through this. Why can't we fire Norvell? I don't get it. I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Jim. I agree with you. Yeah, that 3rd and 1 call is the killer. Look, it's written in the statement that they released last Sunday. There were 4 different quotes from 4 different people who told you we suck and we're sorry about that, but we're going to stick with Mike Norvell. One of them was Mike Norvell that was quoted in that statement, but that's where they wrote it. Now I'm hoping they go back on their word, but I'm hoping for $1 million being deposited in my bank account tomorrow morning too. I doubt it's going to happen when I wake up. I'm not going to see that. But Gene, that's the thing where when we were talking about the likelihood of Florida State moving on from Mike Norvell and vetting what could they do next, I think we all want them to reset their own market here to usher in that new era, which is that because nobody's proven in the head coaching ranks, Lane Kiffin's your best candidate. Like, he hasn't proven it at the highest level that he can win and make those decisions in a playoff. So spend $4, $5, or $6 million on your next head coach and grow with them, or fire them and don't owe them $50 million. But unfortunately, Jim, the answer is the statement that came out six days ago. That's where it is written. The administrator said they don't want to do it, that they have the money, but they're not going to spend it on that because they need to be reasonable stewards of program revenues, quote unquote, whatever the hell that means. Any thoughts on the matter?
Well, we did see Texas A&M, and we saw just recently LSU do it. They took big buyouts, and because they had to do it for the greater good, and the administration here is not willing to do that and continue the status quo. Apparently, that's good enough. I don't think it's good enough for 90+% of the fan base, and but I don't know what else to say. They think differently, so we're stuck with this for the meantime. But yeah, I totally agree with your sentiments, Jim.
Do you think that there's a silent majority out there that backs Norvell?
Absolutely not. I haven't run into anyone, and it's just not. Look, I'm always like, look, this is one of the things, because if you and I are out and about in town, we run to a lot of people, talk FSU sports, and a lot of times there's a big difference between what you see on social media, what you see in the tribal council, and what the general FSU fan is saying. It's shocking how different it is sometimes. Not this. 100 people I've talked to off the message boards, off social media, are all like, I don't understand why I don't fire Mike Norvell. This is embarrassing. It's ugly. It needs to be fixed. It's not happening. So I don't know where this majority is that they're alluding to.
Yeah, and that would be also my advice to Director Alford. People can see your likes, even though they can't see it like they used to on X. They can screenshot it if they're the account that tweeted it. So be careful what you like, just for everybody out there. But yeah, there is no silent majority. That's the sentiment that he liked on a social media tweet earlier this week. Our sponsor of tonight's program is TSpark Enterprises. They've built this postgame show all year long, and they're a fantastic operation. TSpark not only does commercial and residential roofing, but also helps with home remodels, additions, and businesses that need updates or build outs. Check out their website for all the construction services that they provide if you are in North Florida or South Georgia. That's tsparkconstruction.com. TSpark Construction, we conquer all peaks. We'll go back to the phone lines for one of our guys, and this is Ralph in Hawaii. All right, Ralph, bring the wisdom.
Man, I wish I could. First of all, just a couple quick hits, please. First of all, for those who are adding to the negative list of Norvell's non-accomplishments, don't forget he's the only coach in Florida State history to allow Miami to score 50 or more points in the series. So go ahead and add that to his failures. Number 2, if anybody out there has Vicky Vaughn's phone number, pass mine along because I need her boobies now more than ever. Third quick thing is SMU is trying their best to give Miami their invitation to the ACC championship game. So Caleb and I are getting ready to head out to the UH game and watch some quality foosball. Last but not least, I just wanted to call in and say thank you to you and Gene for suffering with us through the year, putting on this, the call-ins, the watch-alongs, man, the chat rooms before the program starts. It's so much fun to get in there and just suffer with everybody. So I just wanted to personally say thank you and aloha. And if you don't mind, Tom, before you hang up, I'm going to hand the phone off. My friend Caleb James, hyperbolic Noles, sitting right next to me here in Waikiki. I want him to say the same thing. Hold on, please.
Caleb is up next here on the Warchant Game Day Postgame Call-In Show.
Hey,
Go ahead,
Caleb.
Hey, Gene.
How you doing?
Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. Your long suffering. You're staying up late after losses, giving us a room to vent in and to share our misery. Let's hope next year's better, and go Noles. Always go Noles.
There you go. Thank you, Caleb.
Thank you, Caleb.
Ralph. Hyperbolic Noel there. Yeah, a couple of Noles who found each other through the Warchant family in Hawaii. That's what we do here. We forge connections here on Warchant Game Day.
Ralph brought that up, and it's 17-7 Cal right now. The only thing that is left for me in college football this season, it's so dead to me, but please do not let Miami get into the playoffs. I mean, this would be how lucky they are. And it's amazing to me. We're all commenting this today, watching around, how ESPN now has made it their point to push for Miami and ignore a team that beat them that has the same record that is going on to potentially win the ACC championship, but ignore that and to try to push Miami in over them. It's unbelievable. I mean, the 180 they've done when they purposely pushed FSU out just a couple of years ago. So it's just, to me, college football is almost dead to me with all the crap that's happening right now.
They love they have their show notes and their priorities of things you got to hit. Just like I have a TSpark read, they have a take. And it's handed to them, and they need to execute it.
But why all of a sudden is Miami the golden child, and we were the redheaded stepchild just 2 years earlier?
Yeah, agreed. Here's hoping, though, if they did make it, that they get destroyed in the ACC championship, because that would be the greatest disappointment of all for Miami if they do get there.
Otherwise, no ACC championship, and let's keep that streak going. We talked about all these streaks with Norvell. Let's at least keep Miami from winning that ACC championship.
Rattle off some more contributions here from those of you that are just so gracious with your hard-earned dollars. Randog Dokester. Like that. That really rolls off the tongue. So how much of a pay cut is Mike getting in his restructured contract? Any chance the buyout goes to $0 in 2026 if we have another losing season? No, there's no chance.
Can you imagine Jimmy Sexton if Mike said, "Oh, let's just cut the buyout out"?
Yeah.
Well, not a chance.
In terms of restructures or gifts back to the university, Aslan did ask him the question in Monday's presser, and that didn't go over very well with Mike. He just stared daggers through Aslan and said no. If there was going to be some sort of vision of excellence like move this offseason. Sky Ninja says, I'm done with Norvell, but we keep blaming him for these calls. He literally looks like a kid on the sidelines before Gus calls what he wants to call. You guys see anything different? I do. Yes, the running back rotation. I don't think that's Gus. I think that's Mike. I think Mike is still in charge of the running back rotation. I swear to God, Gene.
Is that his one job? That's the only thing he has left to do is continue to screw up the running backs.
Did you ever go to Port Paul's back in the day?
Oh, of course.
Okay. They're spinning the wheel. That's what they're doing. They're just spinning the wheel like, oh, it's Singleton. Get in there, 28. They spin the wheel. Keziah Holmes had a cameo in this game. Like, there is no rhyme or reason. According to the TV broadcast, Gus Malzahn said that, this is what caller took exception with this, that he usually has a bell cow, but he doesn't have one this year. How would you know?
That's true. Gus has always had a bell cow. You're right. It can't be his call to do this.
How would you know if you have a bell cow or not? They never have a chance to get into the rhythm of the game. Like, look, Usman Kromah should always catch that wheel pass. That's right in his hands. But I'll bet you, Gene, some of these accidents, some of these mistakes that these guys make, they'd make fewer of them if there was reliability of reps that you could expect to be in the game instead of like, oh, this is my one chance. It puts you in a situation.
And so many running backs too, you talk to them too, they get in a rhythm and flow of the game. The offensive line blocks a certain way against the defensive line. They get a feel where the holes are, where to cut back, those kind of things. You can't do that if you get one carry and you're not going to touch the ball again for another 40 minutes.
Well, here's the other thing, too. If you want to look at it from a dollars and cents standpoint, Chroma had 5 carries today, Singleton 2, Lucas 2, Squirrel White had 2, Randy Pittman had 1, Sawchuck had 4, Danzy had 1, Roydell Williams had 1. There it is on the left side of your screen. For the money they paid to get Chroma to flip from Georgia, that can't be. That can never be. And it's been too often this season that Chroma is one of the leading guys, or sometimes he gets 4, sometimes he gets 7. If that happens again next season, those that helped fund getting Chroma to Tallahassee, I don't think are going to spend another dollar with Florida State. It's just a waste of money. Coach Adam Taylor says, now we can get rid. Can we get rid of Norvell and White? They're both out of their league. Norvell is not the guy. Jordan Travis made him look good. Thank you, Coach. Will Brown. There are a few people out there with millions of dollars, but there are millions of us out here with more than a few dollars. I will not purchase another stitch of FSU merch until there is a change. Well, if you do, though, Will, head to Garnet and Gold because they're fantastic balls. Thank you, Will. Hoya says, so is Gus riding the bus straight to the Villages and calling it a career? Is Tony White back? What are your thoughts? I think Gus is done. He was asked straight. He's under contract for the next 2 years, Gene. And when he was asked last Sunday, do you intend to be here for 2026? He couldn't even commit to a bowl game if they made it. He said,
no, he was stuttering through the whole thing. Well, that's good. Hopefully he leaves because then we don't want to pay that buyout, so we don't have to fire him. So we're kind of hoping he takes Arkansas, retires.
Yep. I think we're setting the over-under, Gene, of coordinator changes at 1.5. And are you leaning over or under right now on the coordinator changes?
I think that's a good line. If I had to bet, I would take the over on it. I think they're both gone, but I think it's about 90% on Gus and probably about 60, 70%
you
on Tony.
Know, if they both left on their own, Gene, does that make the buyout for the head man a little easier? I don't know. Maybe that's just wishful.
The buyouts don't work as well, unfortunately, the other way around.
Noel Sage, to think we're going to have to play 9 ACC and 5 next year. There you go, Noel Sage. Thank you very much. We're going to take a 2-minute break, come back with the remainder of the calls and your contributions here on Warchant Game Day's post-game call-in show built by TSpark Enterprises. Hang in there. We'll be back in just 2 minutes.
Greatness is built through passion, perseverance, and an unyielding commitment to one's trade. It starts with dedication and the relentless pursuit of perfection. The early mornings, the late evenings, the sacrifices made, all for that one moment of knocking it out of the park. On every job we do, TSpark, we conquer all peaks.
Are you going out later tonight to, drown your sorrows and watch some college football? Here's a word from our secondary sponsor tonight, Whataburger. At Whataburger, they believe a late night shouldn't prevent you from enjoying a hot, fresh, made-to-order meal. That's why Whataburger is open 24 hours a day, so you can get your favorite burger whenever it is convenient to you. Treat yourself to a Whataburger or a double Whataburger, or what about a double Whataburger with 2 kinds of melty cheese, bacon, and grilled onions? Now we're talking. Whataburger, just like you like it. And I believe we all know, if you live in Tallahassee and have been to the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, that Whataburger is indeed open late. Very, very late. So head to your local Whataburger and perhaps give yourself a treat of some red meat after enjoying some turkey earlier this week. Gene, how would you rate the meal this year for you at Thanksgiving between 1 to 5?
Oh, it was an outstanding. I mean, it's a 5. The Mrs.com outdid herself, and my father-in-law made a nice little kind of a pumpkin bread type of thing where it was just really moist, mixed with some ice cream, just delicious. I was already stuffed. I went back for seconds on dessert, which I never do. So it was pretty good. How about you, Tom? How did it turn out?
Oh, excellent. Went down to Tampa. The whole crew was there, and we do turkey and ham, and the ham has a log cabin maple syrup glaze on it, which is just unbelievable. And I add some sweet bread and butter pickle chips to that as part of the when I have the ham side of the equation. And then, yes, the desserts were fantastic. We also do a big brunch. Like I'm going to be walking for probably 3 or 4 days just to walk off that meal. But if you want something quick, head over to your local Whataburger, and we thank them for their support of tonight's program.
And outstanding, like you said, I mean, I've got some great memories of Whataburger being right there next, of course, to the Corner Pocket, as you mentioned, too. And, boy, Bill should have been getting a commission off of that, because nothing like dropping a nail in a few back, 2 in the morning, hitting that drive-through, getting yourself some delicious Whataburger. By the way, onion rings that are very underestimated. I mean, those are fantastic.
They are. We did some napkin math one night on how much money Bill had made the Whataburger, and it's an absurd total. Like it's absurd. Bet. We now go to Tallahassee. He's been waiting very, very patiently. It is Nick in Tallahassee. Thank you for calling in, and the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Oh, gentlemen. Well, I was wondering if you could clarify something for me in the NIL landscape. I heard on another source that the Florida State administration has been somewhat cooking the books and putting cost of living and other such things in their NIL. And this was only discovered after Kent State, so it upset the players and kind of makes sense why we might have had a bit of a fall off. I think we just have an administration problem, because the source also said basketball is not allowed to work with the Battles End, and Link has been fighting his own battles on that.
Yeah, I could. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate the call. It's something that's come up a lot this week.
Yeah, there was a call earlier, Nick. If you missed it, asked the exact same thing.
We appreciate the call. We can refer to that answer. The one thing that, again, I feel comfortable saying is that there was a bit of a shock to the system for players and agents earlier in the season / summer, when house rules took over, meaning the house settlement rules took over, and it transitioned from NIL in one bucket and university cost of living, tuitions, and all that in the other bucket. There was a shock to the system. That is true. As it relates to how Florida State is fighting a battle different to other universities, don't feel comfortable enough to go on record saying where Florida State stands relative to its competitors. But yeah, there are plenty of reports out there that Florida State is folding into their rev share numbers, which is the $20.5 million cap, of which they'll spend a high portion on football, schollies and tuitions, things of that nature. But you're going to get a lot of answers here on how viable Florida State is, because the portal's opening, everybody, very soon. And you're going to get stories in the next month on warchant.com, on 3, everywhere, about kids intending to enter the portal. You're going to hear a lot about what Florida State did or didn't do relative to other peers based upon the actions that you're going to see over the next month. And that is where it gets very, very fascinating. And we want you to join us over at warchant.com. Right now, there are Black Friday savings available through the weekend. Sign up right now. Head over to warchant.com, where you're going to get 50% off an annual membership, plus a $25 gift code to Garnet and Gold. So what is usually $119.99 is half price, plus you get 25 bones to Garnet and Gold to head over to warchant.com. Join the largest FSU fan community in the business for what is going to be one of the bumpiest and most interesting months in FSU football history, Gene, because they're setting a course for what seems to be a lame duck era for the head coach. But are they doing so while empowering new figures to lead the program or not? And are they doing it while spending more money on the transfer portal while closing with the current recruiting class on Wednesday at the number that they're at right now, which is around 14th in the country, 28 total commits. At last I looked, might be down to 27 now. What are they going to do over this next month to set the course if the head man's going to remain consistent? That's all available at warchant.com, and an excellent sale if you head over to Warchant right now for new customers. You can sign up at half price, plus you get that bonus. Lots of perks, Gene, available to those of you who want to get together and discuss what the hell's going on right now.
Yeah, so much going on, and the most vibrant community talking FSU sports on the Tribal Council you'll find anywhere. A lot of fun discourse going on there. But yeah, there's so much happening with National Signing Day coming up. The portal opens up in January with that, and then we're going to have all, I'm sure, coaching changes, administration changes. In terms of this GM that could potentially be hired. And even within the next year, Tom, if we're setting the over and under, we're probably involved in a coaching search sometime next fall. So you want to be in on that too. And all that can be just basically for nothing at this point with the special that goes on. It'll end on Monday. So little time, get on it while you can.
Tammy, thank you very much. Says, do you think there's a chance that Deuce Robinson stays? I think that chance is remote. It would depend on who the quarterback is. It would depend on what the offensive line situation looks like to help maybe have him think about not going pro. I do know, and I can report that from a rev share standpoint, Florida State does have an agreement with Deuce for next year, but I mean, he's got to choose to come back and play. So
isn't the biggest factor going to be, Tom, what that NFL committee comes back and gives his draft? Where he's going to project it to go in the draft. If he's going to go, obviously if he's first round, he's gone, and maybe even second round. So I mean, a lot of that's going to be dependent. I mean, that's where you make your informed decision at that point. But yeah, if that's not where he wants it to be, and there's a chance he'd come back, yeah, you're right. All those how FSU is going to play it is going to factor into it, because again, Ohio State wants to bring him in and pay him a lot of money. That contract's not going to mean much.
Yeah, exactly right. I do know that he is very well compensated here. It was a number that when I heard, I went, oh, okay. The other thing to consider here is Dad. We know Dominic Robinson. Mm-hmm. Dad is really smart. He comes from a good family who understands how to weigh things from the heart and from the head. If he gets a good enough grade, he's going to go. But we'll see. We'll see. Alex says, how can the administration justify keeping this clown, costing us more to keep him? It's not too late to change your stance. It is not too late, but yes, there is a cost to keeping Mike Norvell, a real financial burden and cost, and they have judged that it is not as expensive as the buyout. That's what they concluded. Sci Guy, thanks, Warchant. Are we done with big head coach buyouts? I hope to God we are, Sci Guy. Seminoles fan says, Gene, who would you like to hire as OC if Gus leaves, but glad season on. Oh, season over. Go Hoops. Okay, there we go. Thank you so much. Go
Hoops. I have all I can say the type of coach. I definitely want a more prototypical pro style coach in here, not kind of a gimmicky, what Gus type offense. So let's bring in someone that can, coach up a quarterback and run a system, a regular system that can bring in recruits, develop a quarterback. So I don't have a name off the top of my head right now. Let's see. I will, beat the bushes a little bit when Gus is officially gone.
Seth says Peter Collins needs to fund the buyout himself or through his businesses, but he clearly isn't investing in our success for a Nole. He shows no concern for this program. Miss me with the lawsuit BS. I disagree with the premise there, Seth, about Peter Collins cares very much.
He does.
But I totally disagree with his assessment and the administration's assessment to keep Mike Norvell. That's just nuts to me. But that dude cares. Of the four people who released quotes last Sunday, that guy cares the most in my estimation. Still, didn't need to keep Mike Norvell. Tim, thank you for being a new member to the channel. Welcome aboard. And we look forward to interacting with you more in the coming days and months. Frank says, there we go. Frank says, after 2 years, I finally canceled my NIL. When will things get better? Seems like it will be like this for a couple of years.
That's the sad part, isn't it, Tom? That there's no hope whatsoever on the horizon.
Yeah, it starts with the next guy, the next person who's empowered as some sort of middle figure between the athletic director and the head coach. And to answer the earlier question about offensive coordinator, who hires the offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator? Is it Mike? Is it Alford? Is it the new person that gets put in power? Very important things that we'll be covering over the next month. Patrick, thank you very much for the contribution. I was at the game with my daughter tonight. I knew the game was over when Mike went for it on 4th and 1 on our side of the field. So frustrating. Indeed, Patrick. I hope the weather was nice, at least for you, in that dump of a town in Gainesville. Will says, I may not have millions, but there are millions like me. Oh, you did it again. Well, thank you, Will. So nice you said it twice. Boycott everything that goes back to FSU. Again, go to Garnet and Gold for your gear. Garrett PCL, why even go after a high-end quarterback? Next season won't be any different than this one. Roll with Sperry and play all the young guys. Warchant, thanks, guys. A fair point from member Garrett. That's kind of what you're leaning at, right, Gene?
Yeah, but again, I want to bring in a pro-style offensive coordinator, a GM who knows talent, and then I'd say Sperry, and then invest around him, build an offensive line, linebackers and edge rushers. Man, those are the things that your weaknesses. Try to use it. It's a lot cheaper bringing those guys than go sign on. Blow half your NIL budget on a quarterback that FSU's 0 for 2 for, especially if Mike Norvell is the one that's going to be the guy evaluating to bring him in. It's been kind of proven he's not very good at talent evaluation. So I think just build from within. Maybe you get better. One of these seasons where you get better as the season goes on, your quarterback develops a little bit down the road. That would be novel. So maybe the new coach comes in, has something to build on the following year.
Chris in Mississippi is our final caller of the night. Thank you for waiting patiently, Chris. The floor is yours. Go ahead. Chris, are you there? All right, Chris waited 40 minutes. I'm going to keep that line open just in case.
Yeah, maybe he waited, had to make a trip to the little boys' room.
Yep. If Chris calls back, screener Terry, let him through. We still have contributions to get to. Let's see. KM Seminoles says, won 2 real games this year, but, quote, there's been improvement. What a joke. Lose by 19 to your rival. Fire Norvell. Carson says, boys, I was 5 years old when the Noles won their last national championship, and I will die without ever seeing them win again. Help me off the ledge.
I feel old. I don't know how old Perry is, but I feel old.
So if he's 5, that means he was born in 08 or 09 because we played in January of 14. Yeah. So, Carson, you live 70 years. I think we'll get one. if you live 45, we'll see. We need some better people in the building, Carson. Never lose your nerd. Warchant is the real. Love you guys. Go Noles. Oh, well, thank you. Never lose your nerd.
Thank you.
Beham Noel. Jacksonville State loss was the beginning of the end, and we kept paying him. His resume here is amazing. Still, go Noles. We did go undefeated after J-State, but I hear you, Beham Noel. That was not a great sign. Another Kuya says, FSU admin's really okay with letting the program go over 1,000 days without a road win. Bama will be over 1,000, but there is a good road win in 2026. But is there a road win in 2026? Excuse me. Maybe.
I wonder if you can get odds on that. What are the odds Florida State will, what would be the over-under on road wins next year?
Yeah, can we move the Central Arkansas game to the road? Maybe that's what we should do. Move it away from
I don't know why. That's the only game you might win next year. I don't know if you want to do that. You might lose it.
Because we want to get off that schneid. Let's see. Mike Jones, the administration has afforded Norvell a double standard Taggart did not enjoy. They've led us to becoming a mid-tier program. Fire them. Agreed. When it got to be clear with Willie, they did not hold back. Nope. David Coburn said, "We know what to expect. 6-6 is not good enough here. This admin says 5-7 is good enough to bring
they've lowered the base. That's a problem. There's a new standard, and it's going in the wrong direction. It's not the climb; it's the descent."
Mm-hmm. Where do y'all think it fell apart? Cyberhouse says, "I think the Orange Bowl caused a panic where Mike had to get it right. How we saw NC State passed on Franklin is stunning. Warchant is the 2025 MVP. Thank you, Cyberhouse. I got to tell you, Gene, I didn't love the 2023 offense, and I felt like something got gummed up in the works there. For all the stars they had a lot of flat performances with that group. Mm-hmm. You had the second half against LSU was awesome. The roadie at Wake was very good. The second half against Duke when they were pushed was really good. But I felt like that 2022 team actually had more explosive offensive performances than the one with more stars. So, there was noise in the system there for me. When they came out flat against North Alabama, and Jordan obviously got hurt, that wasn't the first time they came out flat that start a game. So something.
Well, the difference is, I think, was the defense, and the defense was so much better in 23, and it got progressively better and better throughout the season, and that's why they were able to go undefeated in the regular season, and why I wanted to see them go in the playoffs, because I think that defense would have kept any game close and given them a shot to win it. But yeah, in between that and Jordan bailing him out several times in those kind of situations, unfortunately, is why he got hurt, because they were so damn flat. He felt he had to do it on his own, and we saw what happened, unfortunately.
Chris in Mississippi did make his way back. So Chris in Mississippi, thank you for calling back. The floor is yours. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate it. I was just going to say Deuce Robinson, It's great to watch him play for Florida State, even though you knew he was getting the ball every game. They still couldn't stop him. So, I hope he comes back next year. On the bad part of the season, Tony White, he's got to go. We don't want to see that 3.35 no more. But hopefully we'll be better next year, and we'll keep our head up. And my son Job and I just like to say, "Oh no,
my name is Joe."
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you. Yeah. The funny thing is, when we look back at it, Tony White ran a lot of 4 down this year, but it's still,
I think it was more the talent than the scheme, in my opinion.
Yeah, the hard part is just when you want to give him credit, the Pitt game happens. Just when you want to give him credit, the Florida game happens, and you can't. So we won't. Main Burner says, "Feel like I went out with a bang. I'm at peace." Thank you. So that says TC. Jeffrey says, when they have to start making changes now with the staff, that they're going to do anything at all I'm sorry, Jeffrey. Thank you very much for the contribution. Noel Sage. In total, I spent $870 to take my father to the Miami game. That's just me. Multiply that by 63,000. What do you know? $54 million. Noel Sage. Rock and Rant says, "No troll. What the admin is doing to FSU is vile." It's a toughie. Vince, second to last contribution tonight. "Is there any chance that the administration will reconsider after tonight's performance and fire Norvell?" I hope, but I don't think so. The bat phone hasn't gone off for you, has it, Gene?
No. And I got a call. We'll have to see. But I just, them doubling down, tripling down, and then a week later flipping again. I just think they wouldn't do that, even though, they can't be shocked. What we saw tonight can't be shocking to anybody. So yeah. I don't know what has changed.
Well, a conspiracy theory. Maybe they wanted to do it last Sunday because they knew this could happen this weekend, and they knew they couldn't possibly release that statement tomorrow.
Exactly. Well, that was my thinking too, because they said evaluate at the end. The fact that they did it early means they already decided no matter what, we're bringing them back.
Yep. Great call, guys. Zeno, final one tonight. Can one of you explain to me how Michigan and a half dozen other Power 5 programs can successfully start and play a true freshman, and we constantly reload with broken and mediocre quarterbacks? No,
well, that goes back to recruiting. I can explain that because you are incapable of recruiting a quarterback.
Correct.
You rely on a 1 year mercenary, which it doesn't work out well for most teams that go that route.
And Tommy was Tommy. We got what we signed up for, except that he got a little banged up for about 5 or 6 games there from the running. But the passer is exactly who he was at Boston College, and that's who he was this year for Florida State. All right, everybody, this has been a trying season, but we wouldn't trade it for the world to be with you after every game, because it's about the togetherness of being a Florida State family that I'm thankful for on this Thanksgiving week. And so for all of you that have been here for all the post-game call-in shows, we direct you to warchant.com. We direct you to look at more of our programming. If this is the only thing that you come to us for, check out Warchant TV. Check out the Warchant Press Room. There's a whole ton of content that we have for football, yes, and a lot of football coverage there will be in the next month, but for all sports. So be sure to subscribe to the channel if you have not. Head over to warchant.com. Remember, the Black Friday deal is fantastic, 50% off plus $25 gift code to Garnet and Gold. But I just want to say thank you to everybody who has made their way for this season, for the watch-alongs we did, for the post-game shows. This crowd gets stronger in numbers and stronger in resolve, I think, every year, because, Gene, our patience is tested more and more every year as Noles.
It's been tested enough.
Yeah, we're being forged in the fire here, but y'all haven't stopped coming and showing up, and we love that about you, and we just want to say thank you. And I also want to thank behind the scenes Terry Clark, who screens all of our calls, which is a tough gig to do because there are a lot of emotional folks, as one can imagine, right after the game all season. So, Terry, thank you very much. Director Nick Carlisle, who's been a wonderful addition to the team this year. Thank you behind the scenes, Nick, for all your hard work. He's not just helping us, he's also helping getting videos like the pressers and all those things behind the scenes as we do this show. So outstanding work from Nick all season long. Happy to have him aboard. Thank you, Gene, and thank you to you. This is I'm always thrilled at the end of each season that he said, "Hey, Tom, what do you think about doing a post-game show with me?" I'm glad that you asked, and I'm glad I said yes, because this is always a fun thing to do.
It is, and I got to definitely take a moment to, can we get some applause here for Tom Lang riding this ship through the most rocky waters the last 2 years, man. You've braved it, the storm, you faced. just does. It makes me feel great when people call up or they're in the chat and you say it's like therapy. You're helping us get through this. It helps us. We're as frustrated as you. We hate seeing this crap over and over again, but it's so, it's good. Misery loves company, man. And we're getting to vent and get this off of our chest and share it. And Tom, you've driven that ship for 2 years through these waters. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your diligence and your professionalism through all this.
Hey, my pleasure. Who knew? All you need is a clothespin over your nose and a little bit of vinegar under you, so you don't smell what you're wading through. But hopefully times get better next season. We'll see. Maybe Florida State gets selected at 5-7 for a bowl. I know there was a report out there. If they don't have,
I wouldn't mind going to Gasparilla if somehow that would happen. That would be fun.
There we go.
Nothing else, we can all get hammered down there and commiserate.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next. Make sure to head over to warchant.com. There are going to be columns. There's going to be reports. There's going to be the Warchant wrap coming up on the channel. A whole lot of coverage coming your way in the next 24 hours. And if you want to break right now to pour a big one, we started the season out with socials. All right, I'm going to end one with a social. Let's see. Gene, you got water on hand, right? I think is what you got tonight because we lost.
Yep.
All right. Well, in solidarity, this thing's been sitting here since Halloween. So a fireball shot to hopefully we burn all this. Oh, you can go two camera. That's all right, Director Nick. Ain't nobody want to see the gullet as this goes down. But,
I want to see you have the ira reaction when you take the shot.
I will, probably. But also, before I do this, I want to say with a fully sober heart, thank you to all of our sponsors as well this year. Lucky Goat came on board for a run during the season. What a burger for tonight. But TSpark Enterprises, fantastic as always. Thank you for supporting this year program. All right, everybody, let's drink one together, and then we're going to say goodnight, all right?
Good night, folks.
Bye-bye.